Okay, so you may have heard about Pinterest and have only used it for personal, saving recipes, home decor ideas, etc. But there's a lot of benefits to why Pinterest can actually be beneficial to your business, and this applies to all businesses. Okay, um, there are different ways you need to utilize it depending on who your target audience is. And of course, before deciding any new social platform, you need to look at what platforms is your target audience actually using. There are a lot of search benefits that come with having Pinterest. But if none of your clientele is there and they're spending all of their time on LinkedIn and that's where you get your traffic from, do Pinterest because it's fun and you want the little additional boost to your SEO, but do not sweat over it. Do not cry over it. Do not lose your mind and pull your hair out. Okay. That being said, let's say that your target client is on Pinterest, or you just really want to take advantage of every opportunity you can to drive traffic to your website. Pinterest can serve both of those purposes, right? So some of the first things to start is realizing what exactly your profile is going to look like, and understanding what the whole purpose is, right? You can think about the boards on a Pinterest page similar to when you may have created actual cork boards of scrapbook information or mood boards, with any type of inspiration, kind of when you were younger, cutting up a bunch of things that all tie back to your specific idea that you're trying to accomplish or a goal that you had in mind. This just does that in a lot more efficient manner, right? So each one of my boards has a specific theme to it, as should yours. I have a mix of ones that directly talk about what my business talks about, right? Where I'm an expert: advertising, branding, um, entrepreneurship, and overall business advice, right? How to utilize Facebook for small business, Instagram for small business. And then it also has boards that my target client is going to want to find more information about, like how to improve your guest engagement and experience at your events, right? Other things we have going on here, let's scroll back up, right? Like client appreciation and corporate gifts, creative buffets. Am I a caterer? Absolutely not. You're lucky if I cook for the people that come to my house. However, creative buffets are something that I do understand. They're something that serves my direct target market. So if I have event professionals, right, that I want to be following me on Pinterest, I'm going to include boards for things that I know they are searching for, so that when they find out, not only is this a new source of getting creative buffet and food station ideas or event venue profiles, they also follow along and get all of these other boards in the areas where I am an expert, right? Where they can actually hire me to work on it. If they want branding, I got a whole lot of ideas on that. I've got a portfolio, but this board covers all those things, right? So this is where it's kind of the mix, similar to how you utilize hashtags on Instagram. Hashtags should represent who you are, what you do, as well as what your client is looking for. Those are the things that help you get discovered. And the same is true when it comes to Pinterest. Within each one of these boards is where you have your pins. Okay, this is that little piece of paper you would have ripped out of a magazine and stuck on an actual corkboard or added to your inspiration board when you're physically cutting and pasting things. Okay, that is what's represented here. What you'll see as we kind of scroll through my board is that some of these have smaller images, some of them are larger, some of them are custom graphics, some are just photos. Okay, and I did not create every single one of these pins, right? Some of these are ones that I uploaded myself, right? Like this one right here, created about branding. That's something I uploaded. This example of a rebrand that I did for somebody, I also uploaded. But here are other pins that people have added to their pages and to their boards that I found useful and directly tied back to the type of branding that I do, as well as what my best advice is. Right? So here's what's really cool about Pinterest is that you can create your own content, as I highly recommend you do, right? Because each one of the pins you put on your own site is a link that's going to go back to your website. right? And we'll walk through that in a second, but it's a chance to showcase what you're doing, but also utilize user-generated content, right? You don't have to be the one who creates the 49 pins that are on this board. You can utilize other people's content to, one, inspire you, right, as the professional, two, to build new relationships, and three, to showcase to your target client that you actually understand this and are a thought leader because you're pulling together the resources for them. Right? So if you wanted to be a DCM client, you could go around and do so much research when it comes to branding and what is a part of a good branding checklist. What are the things you need to be concerned about with creating your logo or creating colors or the implications of typefaces? Or you can have been following my company or started to follow, looked at some of the things I've created, and then said, oh, okay, I like this person's done the research for me. Instead of searching through tens of thousands of pins, here are 49, right? Here are 49 ways to answer my questions that I have about branding, some of which tie back to my website. So that's the next thing, right? Within this board, if we go look at this pin in particular, right? We click on one. It's a photo, a headline, a small amount of copy, and yes, hashtags. Hashtags are something that are being added even more to Pinterest now and are becoming even more useful. So with this, if someone were to click on this image, it would take them to the branding page of my website, right? Because that's what I want, is I want people to see what I do, be interested enough to click on it. If they don't click on it, you know what? They could repin it. They could save it. It could serve hello, Sully. Right? This could be the inspiration that they come back and reference later, which is where the brand awareness comes in with Pinterest, right? Yes, if we click on it, it's sending traffic to my website. Fantastic, right? That's what we want. The more traffic you can send to your website, that's where you start to get increases in where you rank in search. Okay, so that's one of the SEO tie-ins for this. The other one is simply getting more people to see the work, right? When people are looking for brand inspiration or branding agency, I want them to see this. And you know what's been really nice? These impressions right here actually show how many people have seen it. So granted, this was a terrible example for a video because no one's actually saved this pin. This is the cover image for my board. I don't need them to save it. What I needed is for people to see it, right? And those hashtags combined with these impression stats tell me people have seen it, right? This pin has served its purpose, okay? If people click on it, fantastic bonus. But that's not what it was there to serve. Right? What I wanted is to make sure, and this is something you should do when you're creating a board, is you want your cover images here to be consistent, right? Because this is just, it's a much cleaner design when someone looks at all of your boards to see that there's a consistent image on the left and then all the other pins, right? If you don't have that, and this is going to automatically then just create the cover image is going to be whatever your most recent pin is that you've added, right? And it's just going to make this look a little bit more chaotic across the board. Chaos is wonderful at certain times in life, but not in this case, okay? So how do we actually go about creating a pin, right? You'll see here, this one is an image because I didn't want to do a custom image specifically for Pinterest. These taller images are ones that have been formatted to fit the Pinterest size. And that's something you can do in Canva or in any other kind of graphic design program. There is already a Pinterest template that will give you the dimensions that you need, and you can just upload your photo or create your custom graphic, okay? I didn't feel like doing that with this time, and as a result, the links are still there. If someone clicks on this, right, they're still going to see an image over here. They're still going to see the little description and details that I've put here. But on the larger board itself, you're going to be able to notice that this image is smaller. These are not things that I sweat about. Honestly, I just don't care. I want the content there. As long as the content is there and it has an image and it's engaging, that is what matters. So let's talk about adding a new pin. Plus sign. Wonderful thing. They make this super simple. Now we can go over and we're going to, every pin, that you put up needs to have a link, right? That's the point. That's what's helping to drive the traffic to your website. That is what's helping to give them that additional resource, right? Instagram is all about a beautiful picture. Pinterest is like, well, yeah, we want the picture to be pretty, but we also want to use this to drive traffic somewhere, to give them a teaser of more information, right? Because when someone looks at the pin, there really is not a whole lot to it, right? It's just an image, a title, a little bit of intro copy, which is going to get cut off, and then the link where we want them to go. So I'm going to copy this link because this is what I want to showcase. And I'm going to put this here as my destination, right? You'll notice down here, I can also choose to publish this later, right? Let's say I have a lot of time right now, but I don't want these to actually go live until 9 o'clock tonight because that's when my audience has time to sit down, actually look through Pinterest. I want this to pop up for them then. I can set the time to be exactly like that. 9 o'clock tonight. Now, what is the title? You'll see right here, this notification popped up that said the first 40 characters are what are actually going to show up in your feed. Okay, so you want this to be pithy, but effective, right? So what is it that I want people to take away? This happens to be a very search-friendly phrase, which is why I titled that blog that way, because I'd done some keyword research beforehand, right? That's going to be very helpful. Then short description, what is it that this is about? Sometimes you can just go directly to the intro if it's your blog, right? And pull something right there. Other times you may have to create something from scratch, right? Here is going to be top recommendations for books for entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, aspiring business owners, and anyone who wants to feel more prepared and purposeful in their approach to business. Boom. Sometimes I love my own words. There we go. So they're only going to see the first 50 characters, which is probably going to cut it off right about here. But that's fine, because as soon as they click on the pin, they're going to actually end up seeing the rest of this. Then let's add some hashtags. And we're going to do business, books, entrepreneurship, business tips, solopreneurs. If you spell it correctly, it's more effective. There we go. Now, I can go create a custom graphic. For the sake of this tutorial, I'm not going to, because again, it takes a lot of extra work. And it will make for an absolutely beautiful opportunity. And it will make the pin look fantastic. That's just not the part of my strategy that really matters. Okay? Here we go, add the photo. You'll see it goes up there. If I need to edit this, I can actually shift it right in here. So this is just going to crop the photo to actually fit more of that Pinterest guideline. And cuts off the side of the book. But if you want something a little bit easier, that's a tool that you can utilize, right? Okay. And then I need to choose what board I want it to appear on, right? So I have a lot of different boards that this can end up going on. It fits for the entrepreneurship and business tips, right? So I hit publish. Because I chose, right, a later date, see, this is going to show me the image and it's telling me it's publishing later. I can then go view any of the scheduled pins that I have, right? You can also say, I want this fits in multiple different categories or in multiple different boards that you have. Use a different image each time and pin the exact same link and the same descriptor copy onto different boards. Because not everybody is going to look at every one of your boards. Okay, but again, you can see it's really simple to try and create pins at the very least, right? Absolute very least. Every time you write a new blog or you add a new service to your website, you should go ahead and create a pin for it. Okay? It doesn't take that long And once you get this original setup done and you have your boards organized, your titles figured out, your custom graphics, adding new pins is just one more way to get that brand awareness out there and to get that link out there, right? Because quite frankly, if you've already written the blog post and done all the work that comes along with that, you might as well promote it and spend, as you saw, creating that pin probably took less than 3 minutes. Spend as much, utilizing, as much as resources as you can, right? You want to utilize all the resources that you can to get your work out there. And this is one more of them. Now, there are so many other ways I could go into explaining how this is actually search, right? I'll do a quick high level right now as far as how to choose your titles. You'll see this search bar here, literally, this search bar serves just like Google, right? So if I'm trying to figure out what is somebody actually looking for, what should I use as the title for my pin, this is a great way to do that. So let's type in business. Here are the most recent things that have popped up that people are searching for in business. I type in business books. Here we go, business books worth reading, business books entrepreneur, right? So every one of these tells you what people are utilizing at that time, right? And what you want is to create titles that are search friendly. If you hadn't done the keyword research before with the blog, this is a great way to do it on Pinterest. And it will help you get some additional reach. It also is a great way that you utilize that to find new pins that you think will be beneficial for your board, right? See what other people have created and like, ooh, books every girl boss needs to read. I really kind of hate that term, so I'm not going to pin it, right? You do not hear me talking about girl bosses, like, just no. So that's not really a fit. This one is a little bit closer, right? I've actually read a couple of these books and I do subscribe to some of the thoughts that are in there. So I'm going to sit there and you'll see after I hover over it, I'm going to choose which board I want it to go on. Boom. That is how something is repinned. What's also interesting about Pinterest is that that person who posted this is now going to get a notification that says, I repinned their pin. Okay, and somewhere along here in my old notifications, I see when somebody starts following me, right? And it shows when somebody had saved my pin, right? These are all really awesome things that give you an indication of what people are looking for and what they're coming to you for, right? So that you can kind of tailor your content to fit that. Or you can take a step back and be like, actually, I am attracting very much the wrong audience. That is not who I want looking at this. I need to tweak my strategy. That's kind of a high level of how to get started with Pinterest, why you should care about it from an SEO and branding perspective. Let me know if you found this video useful, of course, and I will continue to go into either further depth because let's be real, this is a rabbit hole of information and it could become a full-time job. It is a full-time job for some people, which is fine. But as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, as a marketing specialist, it does not need to be your full-time job in order to get some additional boosts and benefits out of just a little bit of time invested each week.